Welcome to the PaynePoints Podcast. We tell the stories of small businesses, the people that run them, and the journey they are on. Our purpose is to gather a new perspective on starting, growing, maturing, and maintaining businesses of all sizes. So grab that cup of coffee, sit back, and join us as we start the conversation.
Hello and welcome to the PaynePoints Podcast. No, I am not your usual host, Sarah Harbuck, but it's your producer Megan. This episode, as you can probably see by the title, is going to be a little bit different than our normal interview style episodes, but it came to our attention in a meeting that we had with our creative team that we've never actually formally introduced ourselves.
A year later.
And nobody knows who we are. And like, you've heard us, I'm sure, in some of our episodes, but as the producer who listens to a lot of podcasts, I was like, we really need to have an episode where we just talk about ourselves, so that way people know us more than just like,
because that's not a problem for any of us to sit here and just talk about ourselves.
Yeah, no, we're
Exactly. So, we're just gonna go around the table and introduce ourselves and just talk, and y'all will get to know us a little bit better, besides just being hosts of this show where we talk about business and all sorts of things. Yeah. So, I guess Mom.
Yes,
Sarah. Let's start with you first.
Okay.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone. I feel so weird being the actual guest this time. I'm usually not the one answering questions. So
for those, we don't have a video podcast yet, but we all have our hands clasped in almost the exact same way.
Oh, yes.
And we are sitting almost
legs
exactly
crossed.
Hive mind.
Yes. So, Mom, who are you? What do you do at PaynePoints? Where did you grow up? What's your deal?
Oh, boy. You know, now I know what it's like for our guests when they're sitting there and you ask them and you're kind of like mentally flipping through the Rolodex of what should I say here?
Yeah.
So my name is Sarah Harbuck. My maiden name is Pedrati, very odd for this particular part of the country. My family on my dad's side is Italian, so that is where that comes from. I have lived in Texas since I was 4 years old, so going on 38 years this spring. Do the math, people.
We'll claim you as a Texan at this point.
So I think I'm officially a Texan, although I don't know if I want to be considered a Texan right now. My family lived in the St. Louis metropolitan area in Missouri, and pretty much most of my mom's family migrated down to Texas over the years, and we ended up here, and so this is where I have been for most of my life. I've lived all over East Texas. That encompasses a lot of places, and I could list them all, but that's boring. So, so I've lived in this area for most of my life, traveled all over too, but this has been home. So, yeah, that's me. I am married for 22 years. I was like, wait, what? Okay. 22 years. Last December. And we have 3 children, one of which is sitting next to me.
Hello.
That's 2 girls and a boy. We have started many businesses and currently own or are part of like 4.
I was going to say 5.
5. Yeah, I mean, it really kind of changes daily, depending on what's happening.
Depends on the weather.
So, my husband has basically been an entrepreneur since we got married, and I sort of was like, yeah, sounds great, let's do that. And we've had many jobs over the years, and as the economy has ebbed and flowed, things have changed. And here we are today. I think our biggest achievement is the coffee shop we own here locally in Lufkin, Texas, called Standpipe Coffee House, and Black Spot Tattoo Company. Those are pretty much now staples in the community, I guess. Mm-hmm. Standpipe will have been open 10 years come June, so a whole decade. It feels like a lifetime in some ways.
Hey,
so
I wouldn't survive without it. You know.
It's definitely, it's one of the, I think I feel a lot of personal achievement, even though my career for most of my adult life was a professional photographer.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of accomplishment in helping start that business and like see it come to fruition. And now we don't really have as much to do with the daily running of it, but and we've left that up to other people. I feel like that's probably one of my bigger achievements because, you know, it's kind of become this sort of community cultural hub.
Yeah. It's a great place. 2020
was sort of like let's just take that year out. But before that, we used to, this time of year, it's been popping up on my Facebook memories a lot. We used to have a thing called the Hidden Village Music Festival. Words are hard today.
Aren't they always?
And it would usually happen about the week of spring break or South by Southwest Music Festival. It happens in Austin every year. Of course, the last 2 years it's been not happening because of COVID, but we would have musicians come through and that were playing on that circuit, and we'd give concerts, and so, you know, I feel like we accomplished a lot with that business, and my photography skills came in handy because I would take pictures of everything and promote all the happenings that were going on in the early days. And so yeah, that's
you've lived a very exciting life.
Have I?
I think so. I've been a part of it for 21 years.
I think when you live it yourself, you just don't think it's that interesting. You know, other people go, oh, well, that sounds cool. And you're just like, really? That was just daily life for me. So, I mean, I think other people are interesting, obviously, because, you know, they've done different things than I've done. But
yeah. I still think that at some point you, Dad, and I need to, like, sit down and talk about, like, standpipe. Since, like,
we haven't really ever done a podcast episode on that, and my brother-in-law Andrew, who is now the majority share owner in it, he's not big on interviews. So we probably should talk about standpipe at some point.
I think that would be fun.
But yeah, I don't want to make this the standpipe podcast right now, but I feel like in my professional career, that along with my wedding photography business was like the two big things that I have done. You know,
what do you do now?
I am now in charge of media for PaynePoints, and I also I say I run the company. I don't really, but I kind of do.
You kind of you keep all the boys in line.
Oh, Jesus.
Sarah is the glue that holds PaynePoints together.
There's a lot of testosterone.
When you work with mostly men and it's just you as the woman, you know, you ladies who are listening can attest to what that's like.
They're very good men. It's
they are.
That they're still men.
Yeah, that pretty much says it all.
Yeah.
They're good men, but they're still men. So yeah.
Every now and then they need a little push, a little. Hey guys, let's focus.
And then I'm also helping my husband Ben. He is jumping back into card collecting, whether that be baseball cards, basketball, football, trading card type things, Pokemon, soccer, hockey, all the things. It's become a real big thing again. You know, it was like really popular for Gen Xers when we were little. And we were kids, like you'd go to the store and you'd buy a pack of cards and, you might have a really good one in there. And that was like the 80s and early 90s when baseball trading cards were a thing. And then, you know, kind of went by the wayside for a while. And now all of a sudden,
it's huge.
It's a big deal again.
It's a new form of currency, really.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. So he's trying to figure out how to start a new business with that. So we were working on that. We were actually, for a while there, we were going to do like a mail order coffee business, but
that's on the back burner.
Yeah, it's kind of on the back burner right now just for some logistical reasons I'm not going to get into at the moment. But so yeah, there's always something in the back closet, some idea, some new thing. So I feel like we'll probably be starting businesses until we're 85. So
yeah.
And then you'll just retire and all the income.
I really hope I retire way before then. But
25 businesses that you own.
Yeah. Don't ever have your eggs in. If I could give one piece of advice to some young person, don't ever put your eggs in one basket.
Good advice.
The Harbuck Corporation will one day be a thing.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. It already is.
Maybe. It is. It really is.
I feel like, especially 2020 taught me and taught us that you definitely diversify. So definitely do that.
Well, that's a really great start for you, Sarah. But let's move to Kristin, and then we'll save the best
my
for last.
abbreviated interesting life. There you go.
So Kristin, who are you?
Kristin.
Great. I know you.
I love Megan, and I like to mess with her sometimes because she's fun.
We've known each other for what?
Oh,
I was probably like 17 when we met.
Yeah,
and I'm 21 now.
I met Sarah when I was...
You were newly pregnant with Reed.
And he's 3 now. So it's been about
4 years.
Yeah.
So
I am Kristin Ellis. My maiden name is Reed, which is my son's first name, because my dad was an only boy, and he had 3 girls, and there's not going to be anybody to pass on the family name. So we named our little boy Reed. Anyway, there's some personal stuff there. I've lived my whole life in Texas. I was born and raised in Carthage, little tiny town in deep East Texas, very close to the Louisiana border. Met my husband in college, and there's a lot to unpack there. We're going to skip over that. We moved to Houston shortly after we began dating, and it was a great time, and I learned a lot of lessons, and it was terrible, and I'll never live in a city that big ever again.
You're the only one here with a degree, right?
No, I never finished my degree.
Okay, so none of us, we all went to college.
Never actually
I think I'm the
finished.
closest to being done out of the three of us.
I went to school for horticulture. I'm a big plant nerd, always have been. I worked through college waiting tables and working at nurseries and stuff. And then when we lived in Houston, I was inventory. They called me the plant manager. Anyway, I took care of plants and did all the ordering and all that kind of stuff. And we moved back to Lufkin to be closer to family in 2010 or 11, somewhere around there. And I tried to start my own landscaping company. But Lufkin is a smallish town. I mean, it's a big town compared to where I grew up, but very small compared to Houston.
Yeah.
I was a female, and a lot of people don't want to see a woman
Mm-hmm.
out working and sweating and, lifting things and doing all that. So I was having a hard time getting it off the ground when it was around the time the recession hit, and my dad decided to go back to work in the oil field and asked me if I could help my mom run his business, which is Reed & Associates Environmental Consulting. And I had kind of worked for them off and on as they needed help since he started that business in 2003. So I knew the ropes, but he asked me to come back in a bit more of a permanent type of thing. And since my landscaping business was not doing very well, I was like, sure. And so that's where I still work for them today. It's great because I work from home and, can call my own hours and have time to play and be with my kiddos and all that kind of stuff. I do have 2 little ones. I have a 3-year-old little boy, and she just turned 9 months old yesterday, little girl.
Wow.
Yep.
It's so crazy to think that time really flies.
Yeah, it does. It really does. But yeah, met these guys when I was about 4 years ago, and I was newly pregnant, and we just we'd been living in Lufkin for a long time, but we didn't have any friends.
Yeah.
Other than family in the area, and we kind of hit it off and started hanging out. And when y'all moved into the new tattoo shop, which is where we
are currently
recording, I think this is one of those rugs out there is where Reed crawled for the first time.
Yes, it
was.
Yeah,
That's so crazy.
And like I said earlier, couldn't survive without standpipe. They literally have a button in the computer.
For you.
For Steve.
For Steve. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we come in and I don't even know what my drink is anymore. I just come in, they're like, you want your drink? I'm like, yeah. It's changed and
I think every
evolved.
time the staff revolves and there's new people come in, they specifically train them. Okay, when these people come in, here's their button.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
So no, but really, like, standpipe was the first public place I ever took either of my children when they were babies.
Yeah.
And because you feel safe there.
Yeah.
It's like the cheers. It's like our cheers.
Everybody knows your name. Actually, that's when we opened the place. We were like, oh, we should name it. When we were talking about what we would call it, that was, one of the joking suggestions, where everybody knows your name. That was kind of the idea we wanted it to have. And then, of course, we played around with the idea of naming it Harbucks.
Because our name is Harbuck.
And it's just like one letter off
the
other place. And people are like, no, they're going to sue you. And how can they sue you when it's your last name?
Been awesome.
But we wanted, the people we were in partnership at the time, they wanted to harken back to a landmark that was popular here back in the turn of the century.
Yeah.
the other century, the 1900s. So that's where the name came from there. But anyway, yeah, Standpipe is my kids basically grew up there.
Yeah. Well, we got invited to the company Christmas party. Husband and I got invited to the
That's how regular. That's how much of a regular
company Christmas party, because they knew that I had just had a baby and hadn't been out of the house in a long time, and they were like, "Y'all come hang out for like an hour. Right. Get out of the house."
Yeah,
it was
I
great.
love that.
Yeah, it was great. I think you watched Reed while we were at the party. Megan babysat for me. I think
maybe I don't.
It was several years ago. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I've slept since then, so I don't even remember 2 days ago.
Yeah, for real.
I was very sleep deprived at the moment, but anyway, that's me.
That's great. Well, I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Megan Harbuck. I was born and raised in Lufkin, Texas, and I was homeschooled my entire schooling.
But not that kind of homeschooled.
I was like for real schooled, not like how some people perceive it. And I'm not as weird as like people think homeschoolers are. I would like to think that I'm not as weird.
It definitely can have a certain perception. Not so much now because of COVID, but before, you homeschooled your kids. Ooh, are y'all like
y'all
a
have
cult?
Y'all have to know how organized and type A Sarah is first of all.
God.
And then you have to meet all three of her awesome children and know how wonderful and well-rounded and like genuinely good people they are. So there's that.
So I think I turned out pretty well. So I was homeschooled. That was a big thing for me. And then when I was 14, I essentially forced my dad into hiring me as a barista at Standpipe. I researched the child labor laws because he was like, "You can't work, you're too young." And I was like, "Well, I don't have an allowance and I would really like to have money. And also in the state of Texas, if you are 14 and it's a family business, you can work if it's under a certain amount of hours." And he said, "You looked that up?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Well, okay, great.
You're hired."
So yeah, I still had to go through the interview process. I think I was the youngest person at the health department taking that course, the food handlers course. And I worked at Standpipe for 5 years, just shy of 5 years. I left when I was like 2 months away from turning 19. I went to college when I was 16 for 2 semesters and learned that academia wasn't for me. I enjoy learning. I did not like how the system was set up. It was not built for me, it around my needs. So yeah, I did that. What are my other accomplishments? I would like to think that I am a very driven person. When I was young, I would host events at Standpipe. From the time I was like a teenager, 15, 16, 17, I took on almost a managerial role for Standpipe in a way. And that's a big part of me. Like I said, I left just shy of turning 19 for personal reasons. Worked at FedEx for about a year. Started my own business where I read tarot cards. I'm a psychic medium, and that's a big thing for me. I did that. I've been doing that since I was 15. Didn't start doing it for real until 2019. And then when COVID hit, I kind of took a break from it, came back to it, and that's just something I do on the side now. I still enjoy it, but I enjoy making content and producing this podcast a lot more right now. I've been a big fan of podcasts since I was 17. The McElroy brothers and all of their podcasts. Ask Me About K-Pop, who we've had on the podcast, is my favorite podcast of all time. And I like the medium. It's one of my favorite mediums. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of K-pop, Korean pop music, which people have, if you're a longtime listener, you've definitely gleaned that in some way.
You see the influence in half of the guests that we have on.
It's the truth. I like anime. But in the before times, I would go to K-pop concerts sometimes as just a guest, sometimes volunteering, and anime conventions. I'm 21. I don't have a college degree, but I would like to say that I am a successful person in some way. I've been working for 7 years, and that was the thing that a lot of people told me when I first started working. Once you start, you don't really stop.
Yeah.
That's why we kind of were like, you don't really, no, let's not do that.
I'm glad that I did it. I don't regret it. I don't think I could go back and change anything, but there's a lot that I could go into, but I may not. I went to Japan when I was 17. That was really big. in my development that ended up leading me to eventually leaving Standpipe. But I still very much love Standpipe, and I miss a lot of my regulars. This is weirdly like a Standpipe podcast somehow.
It's kind of turning into that. Oh my goodness. I mean,
I
I spent most of my life as a professional photographer, and I almost didn't say anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. So,
it's a weird place to be in. I'm sorry, you were probably not even finished with the thought.
No, go ahead.
Just like going off.
No,
here.
go ahead.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was on Instagram. I don't really even get on social media that much anymore, and Instagram was kind of like the last one that I was super like into and put pictures up all the time. And now I'm just like, it stresses me out in a way to get on there because I'm like, oh, I gotta put a really pretty picture up or something in my head. Nobody's telling me I have to do this. And I really want to get back into photography as a hobby. I think the years of doing it professionally scarred me forever, and so I have a hard time even talking about it now because people have asked me, it's like, that used to be your life, and I was like, sadly it used to be my life.
I'm done with that.
I really, it's not that I regret that. I learned a lot during that process about myself, about how to run business. I feel like I took my talent from being a child photographer, because I literally have taken pictures since I was 7 years old when I got my first camera, to taking that all the way into being in a professional setting, and did that for a couple of decades. But it's just, I think it's one of those things where I'm, you broke up, like you had a relationship and you broke up, and you're kind of in that after phase of breaking up. You want to go back to being friends.
Can we still be friends or not?
But you're not sure. So, and of course, it's been a year of lockdown, so I haven't gone anywhere or done anything. And so there's not really a lot to take a picture of after you've taken a million pictures of the same view over and over again. You're kind of like, me and my viewers that are friends of mine on Instagram are probably tired of looking at this same particular spot. So, anyway, that was a total
segue, but no, it
90-degree turn off there. But,
well, and I was a part of Standpipe when it was like being built, and that's how Kristin met us. So it makes sense that it's coming up a lot.
I think it's just been a big part of our life for the last decade. So, and it's played a big part in us going, oh, okay, we put all this effort and energy into this one thing, and now we need to put energy into other things, because as we saw last year, retail business models suffered if they did not adapt. So, I think it's just been a long time learning experience that has so many different layers that go with it. People and friendships that you've make while having been in that environment.
And while I don't have a college education, I learned an incredible amount from doing that job.
You have a lot of real life hands-on
That's worth more than a college degree.
That a lot of 21-year-olds don't have, because of just how long you've been working and all the different businesses you've been able to be involved in. So,
I feel like the last decade, too, has kind of shown people that
a college education is not everything.
No,
right. And maybe 50% of people actually need to go. There's certain careers like a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer. You need to go to college probably and get that, base understanding. But like most things probably don't need.
It's interesting because the job that I have now as a media producer, there are a couple companies out in LA that I've looked at that I'm interested in working in, or I was interested in working at. And it's the same thing that I'm doing now, and they're asking for like at least a bachelor's degree in media. And while that's all fine and good, like I would say that I'm producing fairly decent content for not having ever gone to school for it. And then you see the same kind of content being recreated on those places that are like, you need a bachelor's degree. And I'm like, I understand that maybe they want the experience of having gone to school for it, but I think that a lot of companies that need media or creatives are going to have to move towards a place where they don't require that anymore.
Well,
because
technology is moving so fast.
And
in this, age
if you go to school for 4 years, you could be behind.
This age of like Google and instant, all information, you can teach yourself faster. And in a way that you're going to learn it and you're going to retain that information and be able to use it better than a professor or a college classroom would,
This is an anti-college podcast.
No, it's not.
It's not.
If you want to, honestly, if I could go back to school just to go to school, not have to worry about taking tests or passing,
Yeah.
I would.
I love to learn.
I thrived in that environment, actually.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd, though.
Just to go, I think in the state of Texas, and it may have changed because it's been a while since I looked into it. I think after the age of 55, you can go sit in on college classes for free.
Just audit them.
Yeah.
You just go sit and learn, and unless it's like a lab where like you have to pay for materials or anything, you just you just go for the love
if
of
money
learning,
wasn't an
which I think
issue
is
and I had the
fantastic.
time and didn't have to work like a 40-hour week, 50-hour week job, I would go back. Not because I need that piece of paper to say I finished my degree, but because I actually enjoy
learning.
the classroom atmosphere and the interaction you have with other people. I hated group projects. And that was never a thing.
Yeah.
And then this last year was like the worst group project ever, and everyone failed. I hated that part of it. But like the interaction you get in a classroom setting, the things you might come at it from one perspective, but then your professor or the other students will go, well, what about this? And you're like, oh, I hadn't thought of it that way before. It's not like you can't come to that realization on your own, or you can't read about it on the internet. But I personally have always enjoyed school. I was, a big time nerd back in the day and graduated in the top of my class and had straight A's and all the things.
Yeah.
So to me, that was always like fun.
I mean, it's not that I didn't enjoy college. I enjoyed college very much. I loved learning. It was more like I did not really like tests. I did not like writing papers.
Yeah.
I loved writing.
And the thing is that so many degrees, like if I could, so many degrees require classes that I have no way,
Connection to what you're needing to.
So like, if I understand that having basics and everything is a good thing, but what really holds me back is I'm really bad at math. And like, if I could have a full ride and not have to worry about paying for college, I would probably go get a degree in either Japanese or English or both. Yeah. And go teach in Japan. Yeah. But you have to have all of these like unnecessary classes.
Those are all the classes that I'm missing for my degree. Like technically I've taken all the horticulture classes.
Yeah. And
but
it's
I still need like chemistry.
We need to move past this is supposed to be us, like people meeting us and like knowing who we are. But like I have to finish my thought before we move
We're all
on.
College dropouts. That's who we are.
I think that college is a great thing, but it definitely needs to be reformed.
Yeah.
There is no reason why somebody who, wants to be a scientist needs to be taking classes on theater because they just have to have that for some reason. Yeah. Or somebody who wants to teach English, there's a reason why I'm interested in teaching English and not math. Yeah. So I think that there needs to be some kind of a reform, but that would be a whole societal thing. So,
well, if you ever decide to go back and you need help with some math classes, let me know.
Okay, great.
I was a math major before I switched to horticulture.
Oh wow, I hate math, but thank you.
It's not easy, but it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Certain aspects, like I was really good at geometry.
Yeah.
But in Algebra 1.
I loved
like,
calculus.
Calculus and all that, I was never very good at.
It was so cool. You could do anything. Could figure anything out.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is the universal language.
I'd rather write like a thesis paper
anything out
on Greek mythology. Than do that though. Or do chemistry. I actually was really good at chemistry. I think you're right. The system, there's a whole societal shift that'll have to happen in order for that to change. I was watching a TikTok video the other day that was like, regular school that kids go to today, K through 12, and even college. Was created, this structure was created to produce factory workers.
Yeah.
And we're not factory workers.
We're not factory workers anymore. And so the whole thing is now to be completely archaically
there should be different. There are trade schools for things like plumbing and electricians and stuff like that. There are trade schools for that, but there should be trade schools for every field.
There needs to be it was economics when we were growing up where we learned because Sarah and I are old. Yeah. Where we learned, you learn how to balance a checkbook and that kind of stuff. There needs to be one of those for how to
a life class.
Yeah, how to play the credit game.
Yeah.
How to all that kind of thing because those are I still don't know that kind. I can write a check. don't have any checks because I don't need them.
Yeah.
Because nobody takes them anymore. But,
back when we were coming up, that was the only way to pay for things.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And credit card, there was no credit card machine. They put it down on this thing and they swiped this over carbon paper.
Carbon paper,
Copy, and then it went into a database, and it wouldn't show up on your thing for like weeks because they had to like put it into the system.
Depending on when it happened, it was either on this month or next month's statement. Yeah.
Technology is. I instead of saying I feel old, technology has just changed a lot since we were young.
Yes.
Yes. I'll look at it that way.
We've seen a lot of history in our lifetimes. We'll say it that way.
Yes.
Sorry, Megan.
Go ahead. Gen X's.
Moving away from more of the just like random thoughts that we're having, people are learning about us from that for sure. I figured that we could do kind of like the rapid fire questions before we kind of get into like the next segment, and I'll ask and then we can all answer. Okay, so
let's do it.
We established in our blooper reel that none of us ate breakfast. So let's move past that one.
Coffee. I think we all had coffee for breakfast.
How do you take your coffee?
Almond milk. And if I'm feeling a little like I need a little extra, I'll throw like a half of a teaspoon of sugar in there.
Okay.
But usually I use just unsweetened vanilla almond milk. That's how I take my coffee.
Nice. And at Standpipe, you guys would get Americanos.
Yeah, it's a black spot Americano. So it's an Americano with, I think,
blackberry and mocha.
Blackberry and mocha in it, yeah.
I still remember. Mm-hmm. And I haven't even worked there in like 2 years. Mom?
I take mine black with Italian sweet cream, coffee creamer, no sugar added. It's just that by itself.
Coffee actually makes my stomach hurt, but if I do drink it, I have a Standpipe Frappuccino or a blended Standpipe, which has chocolate, caramel, and hazelnut in it with 2 shots of espresso. I always get the large, but it does make my stomach hurt, so I don't try to make it a habit of drinking it. What is your favorite song right now? Oh.
That's
Unstoppable by Sia.
Tough. Oh, there you go.
That one's on repeat on my Spotify.
Yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of
Taylor Swift.
Utada Hikaru recently.
You said that beautifully. I have no idea what it means.
Utada Hikaru is a Japanese singer who did a lot of the soundtracks for the Kingdom Hearts games on the PlayStation.
Okay.
Face My Fears featuring Skrillex or Sanctuary. There was a remix of a Kingdom Hearts. That's my big thing right now is Kingdom Hearts. A remix of the OST Dearly Beloved that I've been listening to that's on the channel Proximity on YouTube. But that's been a lot for me recently is Utada Hikaru. So.
Okay. So there's that. I've mentioned it before, that Not 20 Anymore song.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to say it right. BB Rexa?
Yeah. Sure. No, that's how you say it.
Okay. But anything ZZ Ward.
Mm-hmm.
Or like Bishop Briggs. Like, I just have a playlist on Spotify of like all my girls.
Yeah, I've been like on a Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift.
I've also been listening to Lady Gaga,
Katy Perry, like all the like
pop girls.
Yeah, and that's so weird for me because I'm not really into that, but like I don't know, they have a lot of like female empowerment stuff lately.
Every now and then you gotta dip
especially into Taylor Swift. She's been like on a down with the man, kind of concept, and I was like, I dig it. So,
are y'all currently watching a TV show, and if so, which show?
We just started yesterday, Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus. So it's only 1 episode in. It felt a lot more Marvel-like than WandaVision did those first couple episodes, and then finishing up American Gods season 3, I think.
You've also been rewatching Downton Abbey.
I just started that because I was like, I don't have anything. I mean, because like This Is Us comes on every week, so you have to wait till the next week to watch it. You can't really binge that unless you wait. So This Is Us, American Gods, now Falcon and Winter Soldier, and an oldie but a goodie is Downton Abbey or Criminal Minds or Parks and Rec.
I love Criminal Minds.
Any of those. Yeah. We'll have to do that whole like true crime episode at some point.
Yeah, we've got to do that. Yeah.
We talk about that all the time.
We'll have to email Bailey Sari and see if she can come on.
Yeah. Anyway, so those are mine currently.
I have 2 small children, so
you never watch TV.
A lot of Coco Melon and Word Party,
Paw Patrol, Kalu.
Yeah, no, I have YouTube channels that I follow, so I get to like in the occasion that I have 10, 15, 20 minutes to not have to have a child up my butt. I can watch. I follow Dr. Matt. I just call him Dr. Matt. It's Off the Ranch. He's got several YouTube channels, so I watch him. And there's some makers that live in. There are people from Texas. I can't think of the name of their channel. I'd have to look it up, but I can see their faces. Oh no. Anyway, they make things. And it's fun, and I actually need to buy some of their merch because for us so that we can wear it because they have a shirt that says "Words are hard."
Yeah,
I do need that.
And by the way, guys, the coughing. If you look outside right now, it is covered in yellow. Yeah. So this is like allergies.
This time of year, COVID. I'm kind of like almost asthmatic too. So it's like really bad for me.
It's that time of year where everybody's windshield wiper fluid is constantly having to be refilled because every time you get in the car, you have to
fling off
the yellow.
Yeah.
Evan and Caitlin, that's what they're. Yeah.
Oh,
them.
Cool.
So I have several YouTube channels that I follow because I don't
like
have time
TV.
to watch TV.
Yeah, I like that though.
Yeah.
I am with Ava, my sister. We've been watching a Korean drama called True Beauty. I've also been watching an anime called Zombieland Saga, which is, oh man, it's crazy. Y'all just have to look that up. I can't even describe. These zombie girls become Japanese idols. It's so weird. Kyo and Kyoto from the Maiko House is an NHK anime, educating people on like geisha and Maiko and stuff like that. But the big thing that I'm doing right now is watching all of the cutscenes from the Kingdom Hearts games with my best friend Kara. And that's kind of like TV for me. Yeah. Why am I watching the cutscenes and not playing the games? Because they're really hard games.
Stevie does a lot of that on a lot of games because he doesn't have time to play the games because the Xbox is, taken up by Cocomelon and Word Party.
Yeah.
And so he watches like cutscenes and like other people playing the games that he wants to play.
Yeah.
And one day, whenever he can have his Xbox back, he'll get to
do that.
He'll get to play.
Poor Steve.
What is your favorite book?
Of all time?
I think that is the question.
That's an unanswerable question.
No, I can't even begin. There's certain genres. I have favorite books in certain genres. I have favorite books overall. I have, like, the Harry Potter series had a big impact on me, like the whole series. So I'm not going to limit it to one book. Although if I had to pick the one, Half-Blood Prince is my favorite.
Yeah.
Jesus, I don't know. Favorite book.
I mean, I really liked the Call the Midwife memoir series. I like Howl's Moving Castle. That's a really good book.
I haven't read that one.
It's really good.
Yeah.
And then my probably all-time favorite book, 2 books, one is fiction, one's real, is Memoirs of a Geisha, which is a fictional book.
Yeah.
And then Geisha, A Life, which is a real memoir from a real geisha. Okay. And those are the 2 that I could re-listen to over and over and over again because I listen to my books.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
I don't read them.
Start
audiobooks.
To get an Audible subscription. So
I don't pay attention when someone's
reading. I do Libro FM instead of doing Audible.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
I have a hard time.
Yeah,
with that.
because I bought a book. I got it's called Women Who Run with the Wolves. Excuse me. And I've had it for like a month and a half now, and I'm on page 7. Like I'm still in the introduction because I just haven't had the chance.
I keep seeing people say something about The Invisible Life of Addie LaRoe.
Okay.
It's everywhere. This is like the best book of like 2020 or something. And so I keep meaning to like go download it and have it on my Kindle and read it, and I keep forgetting because like you, I don't really have a lot of time, and I can't really do the listen to books because I'll stop paying attention and it'll be like 10 pages in and I'll be like, wait who? What happened?
Yeah.
Who said that?
I do that sometimes when I'm reading too. I get distracted and I'm like, wait a second, I have to like go back a couple pages and like reread it because I wasn't. Really
it could just
attention.
be an attention problem for me, just across the board. But
the Wheel of Time had a big impact on me, and of course Harry Potter because the age I was when all that came out.
I was an adult when those were coming out.
You guys read those books to us when we were children.
Yeah, and I have to. I hope we don't get too much hate for this, but Twilight was a big one for me.
No, I love Twilight.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it was. That was.
I really enjoyed Midnight Sun.
The Hunger Games series.
I haven't read Midnight Sun yet. I need to get that.
It's so good.
Yeah. It's better than
the Hunger Games series was good. Yeah, I love all those kinds of like
YA sort of like dystopian.
Yeah, Well, they're easy reads, and whenever you like just have had a stressful day and you just want to escape into another world, they're great. For
Elsewhere,
that. Like
was a really good one.
I read that when I was
one of
really
my favorites.
young, and Elsewhere is a really good book.
Ender's Game is a great sci-fi.
Yeah, Ender's Game was a great. The
sci-fi.
whole series.
We eventually do have to
was
move
great.
on from this one.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I know.
No, it's okay.
I know.
It's
I could literally do a whole podcast on
And
book
we
recommendations.
should.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
my goodness.
Favorite flavor of ice cream?
Dutch chocolate. I am plain as can be. The Bluebell Dutch chocolate ice creams. Absolute favorite.
I like anything with strawberry, like strawberries and homemade vanilla or white chocolate strawberry.
I'm a chocolate. If I had to pick between strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate for sure.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
I don't drink soda, but if I had to pick one of those, definitely Coke. Pepsi's. Bleh.
Yeah.
Sweet or salty? For me, most of the time, salty. For me, it's mostly salty.
50-50.
Yeah.
It's 50-50.
Well, I have to say I probably lean towards the sweet, hence the double gin.
51-49 sweet. Yeah.
Beach or mountains? This is a heart one for me.
Nope.
Because I do really like the idea of the beach, and I like warm weather, but when I was in the mountains of Japan, like that is the most like comforted I've ever been in my entire life.
Yeah, but when you talk about the mountains of Japan, like you hit the top, like you can't.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
cool.
You started off at the top and you're just going down from there.
No,
you know?
literally. So I would probably pick mountains because the air is lovely.
Yes.
But like when I'm saying the mountains, I'm probably thinking about Gifu Prefecture.
Yeah.
It depends on the time of year.
Yeah.
I'm probably more of a beach person, but definitely depends on the time of the year. Summertime, it's like, let's go to the mountains where it's crisp and pretty and cooler. Yeah. And in the middle of winter, I'm like, where's the beach and the margarita? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm really in a beach kick right now. I've been looking at all these vacation things in like Cabo or Cozumel or Cancun or
we're getting our vaccines,
in the Caribbean. And
get your vaccine and go while it's still cheap.
Yep. I don't know. It's not cheap.
No, I'm a mountain.
Anymore.
I'm a mountain girl. If I'm at the beach, it is because it's cold at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I don't.
So no beach vacations.
The
for
sun
us.
and I just don't get along very well.
That's true.
You are very.
We're not friends.
Yeah.
Zodiac sign.
Cancer.
Aries.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thanks.
I'm a Sagittarius sun.
I always associate Aries with like really angry people, and you're not really very angry.
I have
female Aries are
a real long fuse, though.
Yeah.
You've just never seen me get to the end.
I guess.
Well,
not.
and fire signs are typically very passionate. My sun is Sagittarius, my moon is Virgo, and my rising is Aquarius.
I need to look all that up. I have no idea.
I have no idea.
It depends on where you're born and what time you're born.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to ask Mom.
So, yeah, you've
told me, but I can't keep that information in my brain.
Yeah.
Cancer's about all I can remember.
And at PaynePoints, we have a really good mix of earth and water signs. I'm real big into astrology, if y'all can't tell. Spring, summer, fall, or winter. It's between spring or fall for me.
Same.
I would probably say fall, just because it's better now that I don't work in the like plant industry, but spring was just stressful.
Yeah.
So fall is
I like the colors those times of year. Both times of year.
Yeah.
Having lived through that terrible winter storm we had
a month ago. I will never wish for snow again.
Is bullshit.
No, we need to have like snow like one day. Just like for like the first
time
snow that we had this year.
Yeah, in January that was perfect.
It was great.
Powdery.
It was great. But
then it was
after
cold
that,
for a day, and then it was like over.
And then it melted, and it was gone, and we just got to go play in the snow, and then it was all gone.
But a week of ice and snow,
and no power and no water.
Yeah,
and,
oh my gosh,
I'm over it.
Yeah, no. Introvert or extrovert? I used to be really extroverted, and for various reasons, and that include trauma and aging and my astrology. I am more of an introvert these days.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of the opposite. I used to be very introverted, and as I've gotten older and gotten more comfortable just with myself, I've become more extroverted, although it still is exhausting.
Yeah.
I like to joke and say I'm an extroverted introvert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can socialize. I don't have social anxiety, you know, for the most part in terms of talking to people or being shy or anything like that. But it drains my energy to be around a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Moving away from that, favorite color?
Blue.
Mine changes.
Your favorite color is rainbow.
It is.
Yes.
Recently, my favorite color has been yellow.
Nice.
Not because of the pollen, just because it's a happy color.
Because the sun's coming back. Because it's spring. Yeah. Purple.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much any color. Really, like plum purple, that like super dark.
Yeah.
Like
rich.
Where if it's not in the sunlight, you almost think it was black. Like that's but purple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Turquoise. Mediterranean waters. That's the color I think of as my favorite
color of your water bottle.
Yeah.
I really love I really love rainbow.
Yeah.
I love rainbow everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
But not like primary colors rainbow, like, you know, a little bit more rich than that. Like if you leave out the red from the rainbow and replace it with pink, then yes, rainbow.
Okay.
Is a hot dog a sandwich? Yes, we've established this.
I think we've established it's a very strange sandwich, like
it's
a specialized
sandwich.
Well,
I mean, we could argue that it's a taco.
Yes.
It's a taco.
Yeah. But does that mean?
Let's not ruin tacos. Let's not ruin tacos.
Does
Hot dogs
that
are disgusting.
mean that tacos are sandwiches?
Oh.
You could get real.
It's a
deep in
pita.
this.
It's like a pita sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's like a whole
pocket.
philosophical conversation we can have.
Yeah, it's a sandwich of sorts. We'll say that.
Favorite social media platform?
Instagram. I don't even have a Facebook account anymore. I got rid of it. I was like, nope.
Instagram
don't need it.
or TikTok. I like watching people's goofy pet videos or you know, tell me about a time. What's a cool celebrity interview moment, and they'll have like clips of some goofy interview or something, stuff like that. That's just a minute long, and I don't have to pay too much attention to it.
I need to get a TikTok account because I watch like on YouTube, or I watch like TikTok compilations.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You do. And then you could, Mom and I send each other TikToks back and forth, and then you could be a part of that.
Yeah, I could send you all the really cute animal ones.
I mean, this has been I think a really good way for people to like get to know who we are and what we do.
Yeah, we're kind of serious. We're kind of serious sometimes. We're kind of silly sometimes.
I think this podcast has been a lot of fun for various different reasons. I do enjoy it being my job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we've talked about this before. We did a bonus episode where we like recapped the year back in December. But like we can ask this question again because it's a few months later. Like what are y'all's goals for being on the podcast? Like what are your hopes for it? I mean, I have a lot, but you know, as the other hosts, like who would you want to get on? What's the kind of idea that you guys have for where this is going to go and what it means for you?
Well, I mean, you know, when I first started this podcast, I was still pregnant with Rose, and it was then once she was born, it was a good way just to get out of the house for a minute and spend time around adults, which is entirely self-serving, and thank you guys for letting me do that.
You need to when you have a small baby.
But like, you know, the more we get involved with it, the longer we've been doing it, and the more I've seen, you know, people getting to tell people's stories and encouraging small business, and being a part of this podcast has changed the way that I shop, has changed the way that I consume, you know, because of listening to all these people's stories. And I think that's a great thing because, you know, maybe we're having that effect on other people who are listening to us, that, you know, this isn't just a store, you know,
it's a person
and their family that is relying on this, you know, and to get to be a part of building those people up and learning their stories. And especially, I know we've had a lot, I mean, the people we've interviewed is has run the gambit. Yeah. You know, you know, and we've done a lot, I think, of women-owned businesses, which I think is fantastic. You know, we're an all-female, you know, team group, whatever. And, you know, and I think that's really cool to encourage that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily have anybody that I really want to come on. I just think that
it's really
I just want to continue doing what we're doing and bringing those people in and letting them have their spotlight and encouraging them and letting them, you know, I don't know, have
a platform to say something.
There you go. Yeah. Thank you.
Especially for the local businesses that we do, because I feel like there's like maybe like a dozen businesses that seem to get played out in the, the paper or the local magazine over and over and over again. And that's great. And that there have nothing against that. But, there's not as much of a range of representation sometimes.
Right.
Because it's, those things tend to be about who you know. And not to say that this podcast hasn't been. There have been plenty of people who, we know that we've had on as guests,
I think it's very important for us, though, to have a diverse cast of people.
Yeah.
Right.
From,
And representing all types of businesses, even the ones that don't seem as glamorous or as interesting. Yeah. Because, you learn, I've learned something new almost from every single person who sat in the guest chair and told us about, the way they've approached business or the type of things that they did to get going or just their philosophy. Everybody has something new to share, some little different way they say it that just kind of makes you, either reiterates it for you or shows you a whole new perspective. So I'm kind of like with Kristin. I think we should just keep doing what we're doing and try to represent every industry
and let's
as
get
best we
small,
can.
not necessarily just local, but let's get small businesses from
all over.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah.
Not just in Texas, from all over the country,
all
over the world.
We've had entrepreneurs who don't have traditional businesses.
Yeah.
Which has been great.
I like being able to let people have a spotlight that normally wouldn't get one.
Right.
Right. So
I've really enjoyed the friendships that we've made and the connections there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that for me, I'm a Sagittarius. I want to be famous. I want to be a big deal. And I am. I know that.
Yes.
But my pie in the sky would be, I would really love to interview these K-pop idols that I really admire, and these musicians and these people in industries that I just so admire and respect, and they encourage me and that kind of thing. I think that being in media, as long as you do it right, you make a lot of good connections, you make a lot of friends.
Yeah.
And so this podcast, we've talked about it so many times before. We talked about it with Ask Me About K-pop. We've talked about it in bonus episodes, but this podcast is very important for telling the stories of people.
Yeah.
And getting people to learn about the people who they shop from.
Yeah.
I think that's when we interviewed, as we are recording this, the day it's March 22nd. And so today an episode aired with Alexis McDaniel, who's a body piercer from Houston, and hearing her story and how she treats her clients, that makes me want to go get a piercing from her.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are other podcasts like ours out there in the world, but I think that no matter how many podcasts like this that there are, they're always going to be special and unique in their own way. So it makes me, when we interviewed Jordan Nevadomsky, if I need cookies for an event or if I want to get a gift for somebody or whatever, I'm going to go to her. If I need bath products, I'm going to go to Erin from Tweety Tart. I went to Loud House CrossFit for a time because Amanda Tucker, that's the boudoir photographer, Amanda Skinner, she just had such a great personality.
She's so passionate about what she does, and it's so cool to hear those stories.
It's very special, and I think
sometimes as consumers and capitalists here in this country, we tend to just consume and take and get and order, and when you have the opportunity to talk to the people who you are doing business with on that more intimate level, it does change when you go to order something from one of these online businesses we've talked to or whatever. You kind of go, I know this person now. And I'm supporting their family or, and even if I haven't purchased from them, it's a, well, hey, you need that? Oh, you should go.
Yeah.
Because I am so not interested in CrossFit, exercise. Blech, not a thing for me. Should do it, but I don't enjoy it. But, oh, hey, I hear somebody wants to do it. Hey, you should go there, and pass that around, if I'm not going to personally use their establishment.
It's a chance for those people who run those businesses to talk about and to remember why they started.
Yeah.
Yes, that's another big thing.
Why they're in this and why they do this, and to maybe give them a refresher, if they need it,
Yeah.
I think some people are like, why, everybody has a podcast these days. I've heard that. Well, why should I listen to yours?
Yeah.
That is literally the McElroy brothers book that they just put out called Everybody Has a Podcast Except You.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because they seem like a dime a dozen and that's fine. It's a new platform and media that people are using, and it's going to be, it's real popular right now, so that everybody's doing a podcast.
Instead of having to write a biography that only 10 people will read, you just put a podcast out. If you want to listen to it. If you don't.
Yeah, and it doesn't cost as much.
Yeah.
It does cost some time, you know. Like, we do this every week, and Megan does the editing and the social media now, and it does take up, if you want to start a podcast, it's not just simply sitting down and recording something on your computer.
It's a lot of work.
There is some work. You know, this wasn't just a whim, you know, and there are probably hundreds of small business podcasts out there you could listen to. I'd like to think that they all have something different to offer.
Fantastic, because we really need small businesses to succeed.
Yeah.
So that's why we're one little pebble in a sea and beach full of pebbles. But we hope that the regular listeners especially, you know, they enjoy connecting with us, and hopefully this episode will give them a little bit more insight into who we are. Maybe not. I mean, maybe
it was kind of an all over the place episode, but I think
we're all over the place people.
You wanted to get to know us, so
exactly.
Rabbit trail all over.
Yeah. I think next time we should let listeners submit questions.
Yeah, we need a plan.
Pulling back the curtain a little bit, since we haven't really said much quotable stuff. Because you know, we've just been having a fun conversation,
right.
Asking the rapid fire questions on social media, but yes, asking. I would like to do that at some point.
Cool. Put out a thing for the listeners to submit questions, like, hey, we want y'all to answer this, and maybe we have a question answer time at the very end of the podcast, like a segment where we just answer submitted questions. Cool. I've wanted to do that. I just haven't had an opportunity to implement the submission of them.
Yeah.
Well, and also I think that this podcast continuously evolves. You know, I mean, I'm always on the lookout for how I can improve the show that we do.
Yeah.
And so, that's a great idea, having like listener questions and then doing it at, you know, asking, you know, our person who's being interviewed, like, hey, put out on social media, what do your followers want to know about you?
Yeah. So, and then we ask.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
So
I mean, a tidbit for later.
We've done a lot of episodes where we haven't really been talking about business, like I said, and you can go back in our archive and find them. But I mean, I really hope that this episode has in some way given people a little bit more insight about us.
Yeah.
And if you want to know more, just message us on social media.
Ask us and we'll answer the questions on our next one.
Yeah. I guess we can plug our social media if we want people to follow it. I'm Slowpoke Megan on Instagram and Slowpoke_Megan on Twitter. You can find me there if you want to talk to me.
I am Lightrider 2012, because that's when I started my Instagram account on Instagram. And that's really the only social media I have that you would see regular posts from. So follow me on Instagram at Lightrider2012.
This is silly. I'm real world Disney princess.
You are.
Yeah, and that totally encapsulates you as an individual. And Lightrider, LIGHTWRITER, is the literal translation of photographer from the Latin.
That's cool.
To write with light.
My favorite Pokemon is Slowpoke, and my name is Megan.
So
there you
Slowpoke
go.
Megan.
Katie came up with mine. I was like, I need to start an Instagram account, but I don't know what name to use. And she like texted me, was like, these three are open, and all three of them had something to do with a Disney princess. And I was like, fine, that one. I'll do that.
That works.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, thank you for listening to our podcast. If you are, there's like a whole
shout out to all the Germans in the Czech Republic. There's a weird little sect of y'all, and we love it.
Cool.
It's awesome.
No, there's several German listeners who have messaged me. We have somebody from the UAE. That's been really cool. And there's Brazil. Like a whole outro that we typically do. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it in, but if you're listening to this on Spotify, please give us a follow. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, subscribe. And the same with YouTube. Press that subscribe button.
Push all the buttons.
So you never miss an episode.
Because we're just so much fun to hang out with every day.
I would hope so. I really hope that people like us.
I think I like us.
We've never gotten any really nasty or negative comments. So
there was one that would kind of bothered me, but we've been doing this for a year. So getting one out of
all the ones we could get.
Now we're going to get like 10 on this episode.
Don't put that out into the universe. Bring back the guests. We don't want to hear what y'all have to say. Well, I think that was a pretty good intro episode on us, and we hope that you'll join us again. And
let us know, do all the commenting and all the subscribing and all the things, and let us know if you want to know more.
Yes, exactly.
Because we like talking about ourselves. We'll do it again.
We really do.
We're so full of it. Anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed this one. We'll have obviously more exciting and interesting guests in the coming weeks, so you should be check that out. And if you aren't liked or subscribed at this point, you really should, because what we've got coming on is really awesome.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, thank you for listening. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks, y'all. Bye. Have a good one.
Do you have a story to tell? We want to hear it. If you'd like to be a guest on our podcast and share your story, contact us on our website at PaynePoints.com or any of the social media linked on our website. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. We'd appreciate a review, a like, or a comment to let us know what you think. You can find all of our podcasts linked on our website under the podcast tab. Once again, thanks for joining us, and we want to wish everybody a wonderful day.
I love when podcasts have bloopers at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know, a silly thing.
Or movies or TV
Yeah, like
shows.
I always listen to the very, very end to make sure there's nothing, like no little funny tidbit that I missed.
Yeah. No, and that's why people should listen to the very, very
There you go. Yeah.
Mom, what did you have for breakfast?
I didn't actually have breakfast today except for
Aw.
coffee. That cookie that Sam brought has a part of a chocolate chip cookie.
That was good. I haven't eaten breakfast yet either.
Me neither.
So then what did everybody have for dinner last night?
What did I have for dinner last night? Oh, we had frozen pizzas for dinner last night.
A staple.
Because we were lazy. Mine was stuffed crust. It was delicious.
We had nachos.
We
or
did have
tacos.
nachos. And I'm making gumbo for the first time tonight.
Ooh.
I'm pretty excited about it. I hope it
Yeah.
turns out well. I'm going to put my little bar stool next to the stove and just sit.
Just do it. Yeah, you gotta
Put a podcast on.
There you go. If you need any, you got Steven's number.
Yeah, that's
text
true.
him if you need any pointers.
That's true.
he makes a pretty good gumbo.
Okay, let's listen to that back real quick. And that's the thing about being the producer, is having to run to your mic and then sit down, and then I'm gonna clap so that way I know where we actually started.
It sounds like an after-school special.
I have to put my phone on mute. I
Sounds
forgot
like
to
when
do
it
that.
reads one of the little make believe make up songs that reads and runs around singing.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. And now I run back to my computer.
Really, we should do a video at some point, like